Hi guys, welcome back to the Book Corner. I'm Hermione, author and lover of good literature. So, this is actually a redo of the video because I was in the middle of doing the video and suddenly I heard water and it's not supposed to be coming to my apartment. I don't know. I called my favorite property manager up. She sent her son in. He thinks it's a clog and I'm wondering, I wonder why there's a clog. Because obviously the people upstairs are doing a lot of laundry and they got a lot of shit that's going down the toilet or down the pipes. So hopefully it will be some time before I have water coming in. I had to remove two of my totes. I got water everywhere. I quickly mopped it up so before it got into the thing, and they would have to come back and do it again, and all that. So, yeah, so that is what happened to me today, which was not fun. Alright, so in today's video, I am going to be talking about Mary Sue's and page goals. So, as everyone knows, I posted this about 2-3 months ago. I'll just say August for reference, that I was redoing The Shadow King because I did not like what the quality I was pouring out. I watched this video about some of the things that readers don't like in their fantasy books, and this is from a author that's written 5 fantasy books, so obviously he knows what he's talking about. I watched it. I actually watched the other video that another guy did, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like really good advice. So I did it. I deleted it. Not deleted the file, but deleted it, and I went and I rewrote 25 pages, and I did that in one day. So very happy about that. There's a total of about 2 chapters that are in the book so far. So far at the time that I redid the book. So I actually made my goal for the month of August, and I was very, very happy about that. The book has got a total of about 400 pages. So for the month of September, I said, okay, I'm going to write 25 pages, and I actually did manage to get to 25 pages. So I was up to 50, and then I said, okay, my goal for October is going to be 25 pages. I got 25 pages done, no problem. The thing about it was that I ripped up my note. I ripped up what I was going to do. See? You hear it. You hear it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put a lot. I'm not going to put a overload readers with a ton of details, but I kind of wanted to make the scenes a lot more richer and a lot more engaging and exciting. I wanted to make my characters more three-dimensional. That's my big weakness, is three-dimensional characters, but I believe that if I work as hard as I possibly can to create these three-dimensional characters with emotions and feelings and all that stuff, that I'm actually going to succeed in doing it. So now that we're in the month of November, my goal, of course, is 25 more pages. I have actually gotten half of that done. So very excited about it and everything. And then, so with that, I will be up to about 100 pages. And then I'm going to, so when I'm done with the 400th page, I'm going to be like, okay, should I stop it here and just leave that for the next book? And I don't know. So when I get to 400 pages, if I feel like that I can swing this over to the next book, I will go ahead and do it. It also allows me more time. Like when you have a goal of how many pages you're going to actually right, it allows you to have much more breathing room when it comes to your characters, making sure they sound believable, make sure that they are nice and round and good. I don't, with fantasy books, I don't try to have a large goal. I just have, okay, this is how many pages I'm writing in 1 month. It allows me to think about what I'm going to write next and all that, and try to keep the book consistent and all that. So one of the things that I have definitely stayed away from is smut and romance, mainly because I really suck at writing sex scenes. I'm sorry, I suck at writing them, because I'll just leave it at that. I suck at writing sex scenes. Even in fan fiction, my sex scenes were considered pretty raunchy, so raunchy is definitely not good. But so I've gotten figured out a way around having to do those scenes, because it helps to tie in a lot more into who the dragon mages are and why they are the way they are. So I was kind of like, how can I not include a sex scene in this book, but make it go with how they are as people? And I was like, oh, that looks like a really good idea, so I did that. But it's important to realize, and this is something else I'm noticing, and this is gonna be a pretty long video, but is that people buy fantasy books for the smut. They don't buy the book for the story. They don't. Now, this might not be the same for everyone. Everybody is like different in why they pick up a book. But if you look at Book Talk, which may or may not be vanishing in a couple of months, and watching in about 2 months, you really look at, oh, how much spice does this book actually have? Like, writing enormous amounts of sex is what is going to sell the book. I thought the story sold the book, but I guess I was wrong. This is why, if I want to include LGBT characters into it, that's my own decision. This one will not have them. So if you guys don't like a fantasy book that doesn't have gay characters in it, you don't have to buy my book. I really don't care either way. I do my own thing. That's why I'm an independent author. So I can do my own thing. Because you cannot sell fantasy anymore unless there is a copious amount of sex, group sex, orgies, whatever. You have to have those things in it in order for it to sell, because that is what sells in the literary market. I have told people over and over again, I do not write these books to make money. I write these books because it is a hobby. It is something that I enjoy doing, and I enjoy being a part of that kind of community. But I have goals, and I take advice where I can find it to help me create a better book. Be like, okay. So I do have an artist to do it. Probably about March, I'm going to actually pay her, because she's too young for a bank account. I'm paying her like $30 for the cover art. I'm going to pay her actually $60, because $30 for the ebook cover and $30 for the physical copy. So I'm going to give her $60 for that cover. And I'm not going to tell you what the cover is going to look like. I'm still working on what I want the cover to be. I will tell you, however, there will be a dragon in it. So I kind of have this image of what I want, and I'm going to, because he's told me that his sister is really good at drawing. So I'm going to be consulting her in the next couple of months to do this cover. I am going to tell her what size I'm going with, and let's hope and pray that it'll be good. But yeah. So that is what that's what I'm doing. And I am very, very happy with it. I'm going to be very happy when I finally get it wrapped up, because it's going to be in hardback, wrapped up, looking very nice and pretty. So very excited about that, and looking forward to doing that. But speaking of characters, what I want to talk about in it is something that I definitely have avoided doing, which is very important when you're writing a book. And this important aspect of character development for writing a book is staying away from goddamn Mary Sue's. I really cannot stand Mary Sue's. This is something from my own personal taste and experience of I don't like Mary Sue's. And the reason I don't like them is because everything is easy for them. They don't actually have to do anything to master it. And that is not how it is in real life. It is never how it will be in real life, unless you're a genius like Mozart, Beethoven, those kinds of people. When I rewrote the first 25 pages of the book, which was the only pages I did in the book, I decided to up her age, so that when she is doing her magic and fighting off monsters and stuff like that, that it goes with her experience and her age. And basically, there is a section in it where Ma Beth asks her, were you born with the ability to do this? And she's like, I was born with the ability to do magic, but I had to learn how to control it and manifest it. And the thing about it is, Mary Sue's are everywhere. The Percy Jackson TV character of Annabeth Chase is a Mary Sue, because she doesn't actually have to work to get the answer. She automatically can figure it out, which is something that royally pisses me off. I cannot stand that. In the books, she struggles and she grows. In the show, she automatically knows the answer. I do not like that. Raiden turned a non-Mary Sue into a Mary Sue. I do not like that. I will never watch the show because it has a Mary Sue in it, and I don't like Mary Sue's. My character, I put her through shit. She is wading in shit, literal shit, because there's no treatment plants in this world. She goes through stuff, but she grows and develops as a character. And that is important. And some people might say, well, can't she just have like a female girlfriend? Absolutely no. I'm not making her gay when she's incapable of feeling any kind of sexual love. This is all part of what dragon mages are. Dragon mages, they love their dragons. They will protect their dragons with their life. But sexual love is not even in the culture. It is not in the culture. It is considered to be a distraction. This is their culture. This is the culture that has literally almost been systematically destroyed. And all that. But it is necessary to point out that this is why she is the way that she is. So she's hot-tempered. Don't grab her breast or you will be hurt. And there's a couple of times in the story that I'm going to write that some guy decides to touch her the way she don't want to be touched, and she basically goes off on him. But yeah, so Mary Sue's are always a problem. They make a story not even remotely interesting because you don't see the struggle that the characters go through. You don't see anything. They just can go from one situation to the next, to the next, to the next without any kind of problems. So yeah, I mean, they're there for no reason. You know what? Why is Annabeth Chase even there in the show when she's like not going to be struggling at all? Or she might have a little bit of a struggle, but it's not enough to do anything for the character or anything for the progression of the story. Another example of a Mary Sue that is another reason why I don't watch Star Wars. I watch the earlier ones, like even the ones that have like Anakin Skywalker and his journey to becoming Darth Vader, which I really happen to like, is of course, I think it's Han Solo's daughter. I think it is. She's a Mary Sue. She can fly. She does lightsaber, but she had absolutely no training. Luke Skywalker went through training with Yoda. I will not watch it. I will not watch it because it's just too easy for her to get over these issues. Another example of a Mary Sue that I still happen to like, though I really wish they wrote him better, was Wesley Crusher, though they did redeem him in Picard and Lower Decks, I believe it is. No, Prodigy. He was redeemed and all this, and that was really great. I was glad they did it. I'm glad they finally did him right. But, you know, and people hated him because he was a male version of Mary Sue. I also there's two tropes that, I was going to say two tropes, but I might add another one. Let's see, three, the one I already mentioned, but like friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, enemies to lovers, and, enemies to lovers, so let's go with enemies to lovers. I really cannot stand enemies to lovers. They're your enemy. You're not supposed to be falling in love with them. That is the point of this person being your enemy. You cannot identify with the villain at all or the bad guy at all in those stories. You cannot identify with him. You don't know what his motivation for doing what he does outside of being a villain makes no sense. You have to have a villain that you want to be defeated. You have to. You cannot have this blood-sucking monster suddenly becoming this rescue hero. It doesn't work that way. It just does not. And when people write these enemies to lovers and people consume this bullshit, it just degrades the fantasy genre. And it just basically just turns it into a joke. And the reason that people like Brandon Sanderson and George R.R. Martin are bestsellers, mega hit sellers, is because they know the formula for a good book. I'm still learning the formula. But I'm hoping that I will master the formula because I do have another idea for a fantasy series after this one. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that. But one of the huge things that really pisses me off as a reader and as an author is this insane desire to turn every enemy into a love interest or whatever. I just don't understand it. I just think it's pointless and stupid and all that. So another trope that I really am not a fan of is clear good and evil. So unless you are the main villain, there should not be a clear distinction between good and evil. Every character should be multifaceted. They should not be, okay, this is, so prime example of clear-cut good and evil is, of course, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. The Chosen One is a trope. Oh yeah, here's another one. Chosen One's a trope that I do not like. It gives the reader the impression that everything's going to be easy for that character. And when you have the Chosen One, there is never a clear punishment if that Chosen One breaks rules that other people are being punished for. So, for a prime example of it is every time that Harry Potter broke the rules, even if he believed the reasoning was good, it was not good enough to justify breaking those rules. And also the attitude of that not a single witch or wizard has gone bad that hasn't been in Slytherin has been proven over and over again to not be 100% true. And what you do is you have these characters in these little things where they're not allowed to grow, they're not allowed to embrace every aspect of themselves because they're stuck in this typecast. This, it's like, in my character is not 100% good. She's not 100% evil. She is very much a mix of both because that is human nature. We all have these dark thoughts. We all have these nasty bouts of temper. We're not all good. We're not all bad. We are human and we have these emotions and stuff like that. When you go and you have a clear-cut definition of who's good and who's bad, it kind of makes things predictable. It kind of makes things, this is what this is, this is what this is. And, you go, like, I've been reading The Song of Ice and Fire, Book 1, and on Kindle, and the characters are not all good. They're not all bad. They do shitty things to people. And that is why I think George R.R. Martin's books are so popular, even though it's been 11 years since he wrote a new book, is because you see them as actual people. They're well-rounded, they're multifaceted, and they're very, very complicated. And I think that's what I'm really liking about the book, is these characters are so complicated. And that is basically, like, I understand that Rowling wrote this the way because she was appealing to children, but as we grow up out of that, we want more multifaceted characters. We kind of realize that Harry Potter, and this is my own personal opinion, he has not aged well. The series has not aged well. We now know that the stereotypes are not accurate. We know that Professor Snape is, yes, he's not a pleasant man, and definitely Alan Rickman made him a lot more popular than he was in the books. But he also is multifaceted, and people want, every time I turn around, people write articles about how you're supposed to hate Professor Snape, despite what he did, despite the sacrifices he made, that we're supposed to hate him. Why did Harry... First of all, that's Harry and Ginny's business, okay? Let's just get out of fictional families' lives and stop telling them what to do. But I think it's because when you go, and Rowling decided to make Snape multifaceted, even though you didn't see it, it's always, oh, yeah, I don't care what he did, he's a nasty person, he doesn't deserve any kind of respect. Also, and they always bring up because he was in Slytherin is why he shouldn't be trusted. And the thing about it is that the redemption arc for Snape was very well written, but people still have this, I don't care how much you redeem him, he is still evil. And that's why you read a lot of fan fiction where Snape has no redeeming qualities in him at all. And that is what they do. They go and they love the simplicity of who is evil and who is good, who is right and who is wrong, and all that. And also the thing about it is, despite what Voldemort has done, why I don't like him as a character, but his creation was of his mother's own doing. And it was her choices that affected the life of her son. So that is her fault. But when we create multifaceted characters, when we don't give them a distinction between good and evil, we make them human, we make them people that we either root for or boo. It makes the book more interesting. And this is what I'm getting from the fantasy trope, is what Rowling did was good for the time, but if you're writing adult fantasy, you have to create these multifaceted characters. There's no clear line what they're like, Now the villain, we clearly know that he or she is 100% evil, and some of the stuff that I mentioned in my previous videos, that is what he does because that is the nature of his character. He has no redeeming qualities. He's never going to be good. He is never going to be kind. He is literally a byproduct of how his father was raised and how his father raised him. He's not immortal. He's not looking for immortality. He is seeking out this black dragon that is now currently bonded with my main character. That is part of his motivation. But it's also important to realize that he has other things that he is motivated in doing, not just one small thing. But yeah, so Mary Sue's are a problem. Good and evil, clear good and evil is my problem, because it doesn't allow for any kind of growth. It's just basically, we're going to make this henchman evil, and there is, you don't actually have why are they evil, or no, why are they doing this for someone who is evil, and all that. So we have to have that, and I understood that going into writing this book. I understood that, yes, my characters have to have motivation in what they do. You just can't do this, and this with it. It has to be something. So Mary Sue's good and evil, a boatload of smut. I'm just not writing that in it. I'm not writing that in it. But I was actually watching a video a couple months back about the Fantasy and Science Fiction magazine, and how you cannot get your book published without it having LGBT characters and loads of smut and people of color and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think having LGBT characters in a book that is specifically for the LGBT community is good, because they want to have their own books, they want to have their own fantasy series, and that's totally fine. One reason I really don't write that stuff is because I really can't write it. Now, the only exception, of course, is my Book Nook, where I do have 2 openly gay men. But they don't do anything in that relationship besides one's a scaredy cat and one's extremely intelligent, but they somehow make it work. But I think that when you go and dilute, and I'm actually going to do a whole video about what is wrong with the fantasy industry, because I think that's very important to talk about, because it has to be mentioned. So I will see you guys in that video. Until next time, be well and keep reading.